Hello and welcome to another episode of Jaw Jacking with James. We're going to now move on to my rant and a few stories about playing Fallout New Vegas. Wanted to get this out the door and, lead me into doing the next one. And, just to keep you up to date, is that Friday and Saturday, I had a bit of uh, fun and fun in the sun and fun at a convention, and Sunday was recovering from being very social and recharging that social battery, as it will. And now it's time to get back into the fray and start getting some more episodes up and getting that reach out there. That being said, let's get right into it. Now, Fallout New Vegas is a spin-off series not made by Bethesda, so unfortunately, Todd can't say it just works here, unfortunately. But the other studio who's made Fallout as well as other games, and they've also made Oddworld. What is it called again? Oddworld or um, gotta look that up real quick. I thought I had that up. Was it called the Out? It was called the Outer World. Outer World. Yes, Outer World, which is kind of like a Fallout New Vegas experience and a Fallout experience, but it takes place in space. At some point, I'm going to have to play that game. I've heard very good things. Oh yeah, it's got a really good score, so it's definitely something I'm going to look into, and I'll probably do a episode on it down the road one of these days. But let's get back on the topic. Fallout New Vegas came out in 2010, and it's a spin-off series from Fallout, but it's still canonically canon in the series. And basically, it is a Fallout 3. It uses all of Fallout 3's assets, along with some new ones. Um, there is some build off from that story to here, but mostly it's its own story taking place out in the Mojave Wasteland for a majority of the game, and we'll go into other places that it goes. But it mostly stays in California, Nevada, Arizona. Well, you go up north to Arizona. No, you don't go to Arizona. Well, Arizona is mentioned, but basically it's in the western part of the United States, but mostly it's in California and Nevada. That's where a majority of the game takes place. Because New Vegas is Las Vegas, but Falloutified. That should be a word, Falloutified. All right. And the main thing is that you're a courier who gets ambushed because of a package you're delivering, and it is basically the crux of the entire game, the big MacGuffin, the purple herring, the Deus Ex Machina, as you will, of the entire story, the platinum chip, which is taken from you. And you're basically caught in the middle of the war between the new California Republic and Caesar's Legion. And that's the basic of everything, and after that, you pretty much choose what you want to do. And for me, majority of the time, yes, they have their problems. Yes, there are pros and cons. Yes, there are. You could say this or that about them, but I'm probably gonna get some hate for this. But New California Republic, faux life. I've been a fan of the NCR, and they're generally a fan favorite. But of course, they have their problems. They're based on the pre-war government, not as evil, but definitely a reflection of what they used to be. So that's the duality of it. And the other main faction in the war is Kaiser's Legion, which are, you know, broad strokes, basically Roman fanboys cosplaying as Roman soldiers, but with guns. That's basically it. Oh, and they do lots of slavery. But it's been brought up many times that despite Kaiser himself making his legion, he based his whole thing off of old pre-war books he reads about the Roman Empire without understanding why Rome lasted so long. Yes, they conquered and enslaved people. However, the people they conquered had the option of becoming part of their empire, and that's something he's surely missed out on. That, the Roman Empire wasn't great because of the tons of slavery it did. It's because it built an empire, and then the people it conquered built up and they became citizens as well. And for most of the Roman Empire, it was a republic until the emperor took over, or a Kaiser, as it will. But that's that short little history lesson over. When I first played the game, I was like, it's sort of like Fallout, but has a more Western feel, and that was one of its main appeals. It's Fallout 3, but with a Western twist, which makes it funner, honestly. And in my previous video, I said, if I wanted to have a Fallout 3 experience, that isolation, that desperation, I play Fallout 3. If I want more of a Western kind of cowboy experience, I play Fallout New Vegas. And it pretty much works like that. Get a sip of water. Ugh, got a little dry there. But, yeah, playing Fallout New Vegas, you basically get to pull out your fantasy of being a cowboy home on the range. Your spurs get to go jingle, jangle, jingle while you have your big iron on your hip. But one thing that's always put my love affair of, lever action weapons and revolvers. I put up to watching a lot of westerns and playing Fallout New Vegas. That kind of sound that the rifles make, and it's just the novelty of it. Because of this, I want to, at some point, own a lever action rifle and have that fun experience of using a almost well over 150-year-old weapon that is still in production and still in use today, showing its longevity. And in Fallout, like the lever action rifles that you see being used, some of those weapons are well over 200, sometimes 300 years old, and they're still effective, and sometimes more effective than the state-of-the-art laser weapons, which is kind of ironic, but also fun. But me personally, early game, I've found that right out of the gate, when you're in what's the name of the town? I forgot the name of the starting town. Where is it? The starting town. Can't believe I forgot. Of all the things to forget, you forget the town you start in. Good Springs, there we go. Yeah, in Good Springs, it's basically the starting area, and usually in my earlier playthroughs, I learned that when you're level 5 and below, you stay in the general area of Good Springs and just explore and level up there. And ooh, hiccuped. Sorry. You just take on basically all the little low-level enemies like coyotes, geckos, mantises, bloatflies. If you go a little too far, then you run into casators and giant scorpions. And with the back then it didn't have it unless you did the special pre-order at certain places. But with the Steam version I have, you get all the starter packs, like the weathered 10 millimeter pistol, a Volt suit. Then there's a light armor suit, a raider suit, and a tribal suit. And with each one of those, you get a unique weapon with it. One of them's a grenade rifle. Another's a sturdy shotgun, and another one I think you get like some type of melee weapon. But beforehand, you didn't get that sort of thing. I mean, early game, the best you can do is get a pistol, a 9mm pistol, and maybe some dynamite, and maybe like a machete or something. And those are not going to be sustainable weapons when you have to fight giant scorpions and casators. Casators are the giant flying wasps that just fly right at you, sting you, and can kill you real quick. And the giant scorpions are just, as you know, they're giant scorpions, so they have the same effect. But yeah, that's why you usually want to take the route of Good Springs, Prim, Novak. Then you go to Boulder City. Then you reach the Strip, and then you work your way up. I tried to circumvent that, and it did not work out like that. So yeah, I've basically just I've stuck to the game route the game wants you to take, with a few caveats. Like early on, I make sure to get at least over level 5. Then I start exploring further from Prim and start working my way towards Prim. And in Prim, you make contact for the first time with the NCR officially, even though like the trader you meet beforehand is part of the NCR. But here you actually meet a small like outpost of the NCR. Yeah, it all makes sense if you played the games, which I'm hoping a lot of people are listening to this have. So anyway, in Prim, you'll find the dead sheriff's house, and underneath, I think, the gunsmithing bench, you'll hear the audio cue of like a rifle, because I guess sometimes it like moves, or if you walk by it, it makes the sound of you walking by it, like makes a clicking sound. You want to get that cowboy repeater immediately, because for a good like up until you reach Novak, that's going to be your go-to rifle. For me personally, if you're going to do a gun type of playthrough. And it's always been reliable for me. And I usually go with the cowboy repeater. And at the small airport that's between Good Springs and Prim. What's that one called? I think it's called June Airfield. Um, I'm looking for it right now on the wiki. It's around here somewhere. Where could it be? But it's God, where'd it go? I'm not finding it on the. Let me just look at the map. It's not showing up. I hate it when that happens. Hold on a second. Okay, since I didn't want to just be spending minutes searching around, I finally found it. It was June Sky Diving. There's a small building and it has powder gangers by it, but don't fight them just yet. It'll come in handy later. Inside is a weapon repair kit, and you can use it on the repeater. And that way you have a relatively good condition repeater. And it takes 357, which is one of the most common ammunition types in the game, so you got yourself an effective rifle. Anyway, moving on. One other thing I've always thought was a good idea early on in game is you want to go to Prim, get the quest to get them a new sheriff, and you fight all the convicts. There are not all of them are pretty weak, excluding like the leader, and taking them down like one or two at a time is usually the best bet because you're still pretty weak, and even if they're low leveled, you're also low leveled at this point. But all the convicts aren't sided with powder gangers. They're just classified as convicts, so you can wipe them out without any problem. The next thing you want to know about is that in terms of the powder gangers, you want to try to get into the prison through non-violent means, and you want to start their quest to start to help, like passively help them just early on, but the whole point of it is so you initiate the quest for the NCR to take back the prison. That way it's a lot easier for you to get around when you're around the prison, because later in game there'll be less powder gangers around to deal with. And that whole area around the NCR correctional facility, the NCR correctional facility. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. The NCR correctional. Yep, that's what it's called. But yeah, you want to try to get initially help them, and what you're gonna do is work your way so you can find out the plan for the NCR to take back the prison and help them take back the prison. That way, you still get some positive reputation with the NCR. You get a whole bunch of loot from killing all the powder gangers, and you have a safe area to, know that the powder gangers are lower of a threat, because before you're an enemy with them, you'll see them like attacking like caravans and being a general nuisance around the area. And then you go back to Good Springs. That way you're a little higher leveled. Plus you have a cowboy repeater, and you more than likely are leveled up a little bit. And of course, for me, some perks from Fallout 3 carried over into Fallout New Vegas. So the comprehension perk, so you get two. Actually, in this game, it raises it if you don't have it to 3 points. If you do, it raises it 4 points, which is a big deal. But anyway, yeah, you side with Good Springs in the Ghost Town gunfight, which is one of your early big moment kind of quests early on, and it's a stepping stone. And me personally, I find the powder gangers amusing. Like, they're like, damn, I had a smokes. Or, I'm thirsty, I need a smoke. You know, they have the typical, kind of 50s criminal kind of way of acting. Kind of like, oddly enough, like Elvis Presley in Jailhouse Rock, which was a pretty good 50s movie. And but that's we'll get to the Kings. Don't worry. A gang faction called the Kings, which is completely based off of Elvis Presley. Now that is just great. But anyway, we'll get to them eventually. But after you have a semi-good rapport, you now have two towns you can rest and trade at. You have Good Springs and you've got Prim. It used to be in older versions of the game that after you get them a new sheriff and the town is saved, as it will. There was a glitch where nobody leaves the casino, and the casino never goes back to normal. With the, I recommend getting the Steam version of the game because that fixes a lot of the, older bugs with the game. Because there are a few bugs that, that never got resolved or updated back when the game was freshly out. And within the year it came out, they still didn't fix those bugs. But the Steam version has completely fixed all of the minor bugs, from quests that you complete. Good thing I had some water with me. Let me see, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, minor glitches, Prim not going back to normal. When you move on from Prim and go to the next location, that is where is it? The NCR checkpoint. Where is it? Been playing the game for years and I can't remember. Mojave Outpost, there it is. Yeah, then you reach Mojave Outpost, which has the, unification statues of the Nevada and NCR Rangers, which is pretty cool. But it's you can build a monument, but you can't defeat a whole bunch of ants on the roadway, which leads into the quest of clearing the trade routes so trade can get going there. That's one of the quests you do there. And I find it funny how they can build a monument, a pretty sizable monument, but you can't clear the road of some ants. You clear the road, the quest Where's that quest? Let me just see if I can't find the name of that quest. Yeah. Yeah, and the quest can you find it in your heart, which is a song title. Song title. Yeah, you have to clear ants off one of the routes that goes to Prim and Good Springs. And I just find it funny that, like, big army of the NCR and they can't kill some giant ants, which is fine. It's funny thing is like I've done this quest so many times, yet I had to look it up because I forgot the name of the quest because it's just one of those things I just do it because it was just one of the things I do during my playthrough. And a big one about this one is that you get the service rifle, which is a pretty good rifle you can get early game. Because the only other 5.56 kind of gun you can get is the Vermin rifle, and it's bolt action and slow. But it's okay early on, but once you start getting into tougher enemies and faster moving enemies, like you start running into the Legion or more bands of like raiders like the Vipers and Jackals, which aren't as tough, but if there's a lot of them, they can overwhelm you early on. Then there's some of the other wild animals roaming around. Those could be a problem. So you want to be careful around those. Yeah, the Night Stalkers. Yeah, Night Stalkers are basically snake coyote hybrids, and you later find out in the DLC Old World Blues that they are a science experiment that escaped from the Big MT, which is hilarious and scary at the same time that someone was thinking of doing that. But anyway, yeah, you want to try to get a service rifle. One other aspect that I always try to go for is some of the weapons you get, like your the 9mm pistol, the 357 revolver, and the Vermin rifle. Early on, you can somewhat get the modifications for it to make it just a little better. But you want to try and mod, they have modding in the game. It's a mechanic where you can mod your weapons, and it can help, but at the same time, you still need to improve your skills and proficiency with these weapons. Um, but sometimes when you're fighting like the jackals and the vipers, the like low-level raiders that you find early on in the game, sometimes they have better weapons with them. Like you can snag yourself a 10mm pistol or a 9mm or 10mm SMG. But sometimes they have grenade launchers, and you want to kill that raider first. And then you reach Nipton, which is supposed to be your first encounter with the Legion. For me, I make sure to let Volpez. What do you say his name like fully? Like I know his first name, but I keep forgetting his last name. Yeah, there it is. Volpes in Claudia. I just call him Volpes because I can't say the last part of his name very well. But yeah, I make sure I make sure to let him speak, and then when I'm done, I immediately start shooting them because I'm no friend of the Legion, and they're no friend of mine. And also, you find out retroactively throughout the game that Volpez has had a hand at doing quite a few underhanded and objectively brilliant tactics in the war going on in the region, and that's another reason I killed him. He's just too effective and a threat. So, for me, I get rid of him. That's just something I do personally. But yeah, after you meet him, you start moving through Nipton. There is a lot of loot you can get in Nipton because the residents aren't really gonna need him because the Legion came in, did a double cross with the mayor and all of the civilians there, and yeah, they just wiped out the town, and pretty much it was shown to be an example by the Legion to the NCR, like, see, we can just wipe you out if we wanted to, which is, a pretty good tactic in terms of war. Psychological warfare is just as important as conventional warfare, personally, for me. But moving on from there, I usually like to move on to Novak as quickly as possible to recruit Boone, one of the best companions you can get because he's a sniper. And this is a part of the game where I start really being proactive in helping the NCR because to have Boone in order to get his quest going and get some pretty good armor and get him his best, armor, you have to start doing all the pro NCR things like getting revenge for Camp Searchlight on the Legion for what they did there, releasing a radiation bomb, attacking Cottonwood Cove, rescuing the hostages out of Nelson that the Legion took in a recent battle. Then there's helping the NCR at Forlorn Hope. And I think, and keeping the lie going for one of the Rangers. What was his name again? I forget. Chief Handlin, who's the chief ranger for the NCR. Yeah, when you get like the 5 plot points towards releasing for Boone to trust you, he reveals that to you. Then you do his quest of protecting a refugee camp, and then you would just think. I have got a lot of thoughts here about Fallout, and I have to hone in on that one thought to remember, because you can do a lot in Fallout New Vegas, as you can tell. You have so many options. That's what I love about it. Anyway, you learn about the Bitter Springs Massacre, and you learn Boone's part in it. And you learn, and after he, starts to trust you and gains his trust, you become friends. He will reveal all of it, and he'll also have the option of having a dark armor, it's just called the assassin armor, and then the survival armor. I usually go for the survival armor because that is more you know, shows that he's overcome what has happened to him because, he had his wife kidnapped and sold, and he had to take out his own wife, who was pregnant at that point. But I'll let you, the listener, if you haven't played, you gotta. Because there's a lot more, there's quite a bit of story notes I'm leaving out. But after you do all that, I usually like to switch from Boone to going to the Trading Post 188. Get some good stuff. You get a lot of good stuff there. But more importantly, one of my other favorite companions you get in the game is Veronica, who's a Brotherhood of Steel scribe. And she's one of your more fun companions to have with you. And I want to also, take a step back real quick that in Prim, you can repair and get yourself ED-E, Eddie, a iBot. And, he's also a really great companion to get because, he'll not only will he warn you when something's happening, he plays down pretty solid laser fire. And upgrading him, he becomes even more powerful. And he's another one of my favorite companions. I like most of the companions in Fallout New Vegas. Like, all of them have their own story, have their own... I think, all of them have their own quest to them. And all of them are great to have with you. Like, I like Veronica because she's part of the Brotherhood of Steel, and she's witty and sarcastic. Boone, he's got his dry sense of humor, and he's just great to have in a fight. Eddie, he's a great little robot pal. Rex, the cyber dog, he's wonderful. Arcade Gannon, he's also great too. Let me think. What are the other companions you can get? Let me think. We got Arcade Boone. Oh, Lily Boone Brown. Oh yeah, she's a super mutant that is crazy in combat. She also has 2 unique weapons, but you can't get them. But she's still pretty great. Oh, and Raoul. Raoul's a ghoul gunslinger who can also repair stuff, and he's voiced by Danny Turturro, the Machete himself. That was another great. I love having him around a lot of the time. It's a little hard to get him because you have to do another quest to get rid of super mountains on Black Mountain, but it's worth it. And then there's Rose of Sharon Cassidy, or just Cass. She's also a pretty good companion. I don't get her as much because she's... you know what? Maybe I should. Yeah. Next time I play the game, I should. I definitely should. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get her, play with her more often because I don't know her as well. But all the other companions I really like and have played a lot in the game, which I find funny. All right, moving on. Let me see. I usually like to help I help the NCR quite significantly. So when I reach the general Vegas city outer area, I make sure to go to Camp McCarran, and which is the main base of the NCR, which is the former McCarran Airport. And I side with them, of course, to get rid of the fiends and all that other good jazz. I also go to Freeside and help improve theirs, and also help out the Followers of the Apocalypse, which is another faction in the area. And basically, I help things all around while leveling up. And I also try to make sure to side with the kings, which are the main gang in Freeside. And they're basically in a studio that was dedicated to Elvis Presley, and the leader, the king of the kings, basically models himself after Elvis Presley. The more on-stage presence of Elvis Presley. One of the other guys is called Pacer. He's the more bad boy criminal version of Elvis Presley in some of his earlier movies, which I find is funny. You got both good and bad versions of Elvis, objectively. I never thought Elvis was bad, but like the morally bad Elvis to the good Elvis. They're one of the minor factions, but I haven't found a single soul who doesn't like the Kings in Fallout New Vegas. We can be divided on the NCR being pro Mr. House or pro independent New Vegas, or the Legion fanboys, but everybody agrees we like the Kings in Fallout New Vegas. It's just the way it is. But usually at that point, you can do a quest to get a false passport to go into the strip, or you can buy your way in, or do a science check on one of the Securitrons at the gate. There are many options. None of the aspects of Fallout New Vegas I love. There's always a dozen or so options. And you can, make the plot go along if you so choose. For me, I kind of delay major plot points so I can do other stuff. But sometimes I like to push things along, like seeing House and moving things along. But yeah, Mr. House is one of the more interesting characters in the game, and one of the other factions that is in between the war, but he's more trying to have a position of power with his Securitrons and the three families that run the casinos. So he has a bargaining chip with the NCR because he wants to side more with the NCR because they actually want he wants the revenue, and he even explains like they're a whole bunch of customers and I'm here to give them something they want, while also, having complete control over New Vegas and still having a autocracy over everything, as it will. And, yeah, no, I just, for me, I usually always go pro NCR for these types of things, and I usually just either disable him or I just kind of kill him. I just kill Mr. House. I mean, could he have helped humanity? Yes. Was he susceptible to, being phallic like a human? Of course. But anything's better than the Legion, you know what I'm saying? And once I get to a certain point in the game where it's before the quests to start getting ready for the Battle of Hoover Dam, like, proper, I also play all the DLCs to get all the best guns and weapons and whatnot. Like, in Old World Blues, you get the, what I think is one of the best rifles, the Christine's Circle of Steel sniper rifle, which is, it's more powerful, plus it's already suppressed. And one of my other favorite DLCs is Lonesome Road. That's where you get to meet Ulysses finally, and basically you get to learn all about him. And I tried to. I always use my speech checks to get him to side with me, because I don't really want to kill him. I think he's a great character. But at the end of it, you get to launch a nuke at either the Legion NCR or both of them. I usually, of course, shoot one at the Legion, because, fuck them guys. Yeah, that's what I think personally. And once you become an enemy of one of the two factions, they usually send assassin squads after you. At least with the NCR, they at least warned you, like, hey, cut it out, or we're gonna kill you. The Legion, they're just like, hey, you're an enemy of the Legion. It's time to kill you. After a while, I have a point where I'm just like, oh, here comes the Legion assassination kill squad. And after a while, you know where they're going to come from and where they're going to spawn. And sometimes they have a problem with coming at inopportune moments. And I usually make sure to have a grenade rifle with me so I can immediately start blasting at them. Usually after the quest you do with the boomers, which are, a bunch of Vault 34 survivors that went up to Nellis Air Force Base and made a home out of it, and they're really into explosives. There's a unique grenade rifle called Thump Thump, and I basically just have that for the rest of the game to take out any variety of annoying things, like of course Legion assassin squads that always seem to pop up. I mostly just you gradually get better and better equipment from them, and that's the main reason I just never side with the Legion, just so I can get better guns, and I sell all of their armor. It's just something I do. It's a thing I do during game, and it's fun for me. I also do a lot of deathclaw hunting. When you have the right guns for it, you can go deathclaw hunting. Because in Fallout New Vegas, there are certain areas that have nothing but deathclaws that you can hunt. And that's something else I do in-game. Let me think. I'm trying to think. I try to make sure that the Battle of Hoover Dam is the last thing I do in-game, because it's technically the end of the game. Unlike in Fallout 3, where the game continues after you do the final battle, in New Vegas, it's the end after that. You have to start a new game, so I make sure to do as much as possible, then do the Battle of Hoover Dam. And there was this one playthrough where I didn't get enough speech checks on the final boss, the Legate Linnaeus. I can remember his name. His name is a bit easier to say than Volpez's. But, if you do a bunch of speech checks, you can actually rationalize, and you're able to reason with Legate Linnaeus. And he's like, you make a lot of good points. And and one time I failed one of the higher speech checks, so fortunately I had to fight him, and at the last second I was able to get at my pet boy. I distinctly remember what I did. I switched a 5mm carbine I had with me. I switched it to VATS. I switched it to armor piercing, and then I went into VATS, and I just pressed VATS as many times as possible at his head, and it actually took him out. I actually was able to kill him with I think I clicked on him, put VATS on him like 4 times, and I used armor-piercing rounds, and I actually took him out. And I was just like, what? It actually worked? I always remember that part because it was just like, whoa, gotcha, you motherfucker. But in years afterwards, I usually make sure my speech is high enough so that I can reason with him, and it'll be said by others about how good the writing is in this final battle of words, as it will, between the player character and Legate Linus. And I have to agree, it is pretty. It's some pretty solid, like, it's like, sure, you're in the West, but how are you going to defend the East? Sure, it was kind of easy, but don't you think they're putting you in a false sense of security? And throughout the game, you are always told how he's the monster of the East and a brutal monster of a man, and yet you're able to have a conversation with him, rationalize with him, and actually make him change his own mind about it. So that's pretty wild, and always like that aspect. And the game ends, and you see a whole bunch of the end slides, but then you start a new game. Or you play Fallout 3, or next I'm going to talk about Fallout 4. That's going to be a fun one. But anyway, my final thoughts are is that definitely, if you want, for a good RPG, a Western experience, a better Fallout experience to Fallout 3, similar to it, but just as good, if not better, with some honestly better DLCs. I would definitely play Fallout New Vegas. It's a highly recommended. I mean, it's fun, got a Western feel, has some of the best music in game, has, of course, the great stylings of a radio personality, Mr. New Vegas, who honestly is one of the best radio DJs in a game I've ever heard. I mean, it's like fanning the flames of your passion. It's Mr. New Vegas featuring Mr. New Vegas. And yeah, no, I love that shit. I love it. I want to, just say that in the next podcast, which is also probably going to be just as long as this one is starting to become, I'm going to talk about Fallout 4. And I'm still playing that. I just got off playing it like an hour ago. And I'll have a whole bunch to say about that one. And then I can move on to some other short videos if I can. Yeah, I'm definitely going to make a few short videos because I'm making really long-ass videos. But, hey, I have a lot to talk about. And if I can spend an hour and a half just babbling on about Fallout games, you're damn skippy I'm going to talk about them. But I just want to say thank you, listener, or listeners, or listenees, whatever you want to do as a listener of this podcast. I want to thank you for listening. And just be ready for my next, also probably just as long and in-depth, as much as possible, story of me talking about how great I think Fallout games are. And yeah, I will get back to you on that. I want to thank you for listening, and I'm going to cut it off here. Make sure to, if you like hearing me babble on about things in this voice that is my voice, blah, then would consider doing a subscribing to it. I also have all my socials you can get to, and once I complete all of these Fallout videos, I'm going to post a video on YouTube promoting it. Hopefully get some more views from there. But if on your part, give me a listen, give me a follow, give me a subscription, share me around, tell your friends, tell your family, tell that one guy, who just likes to listen to podcasts. So I can get out there and get known by the known people out there that really just want to hear some guy babble on for almost an hour about stuff. So long, so soon, and don't forget to jingle, jangle, jingle your way through the wasteland. You have yourself a good day or good night. Adieu.